I brought a bunch of comic books that my husband bought when they were brand new, and they've been in my mother-in-law's basement for about 50 years. When she was getting ready to go out of her house about 10 years ago, I went back there and helped move things, and I found this box.
The story of DC and Marvel Comics mirrors American pop culture in the 20th century. Both began in the 1930s during the Great Depression, emerging from cheap, disposable comic books sold at newsstands, drugstores, and train stations. DC came first. Originally National Allied Publications, it introduced Superman in 1938 and Batman in 1939. Marvel followed as timely publications, debuting Captain America in 1941. It later reshaped comics when Stan Lee, Jack Kirby, and Steve Ditko created Spider-Man, Thor, Iron Man, and others. The Amazing Spider-Man issue. 5 from 1963 is a key early chapter, placing Peter Parker firmly in Marvel's shared universe. Issue 6 introduces The Lizard, refining Spider-Man's blend of science, anxiety, and morality. The Amazing Spider-Man Annual 1 debuts the Sinister Six, a milestone in early Marvel history. Today, DC and Marvel heroes fill the cultural role once held by mythic legends, shaping ideas of hope.
Everything that you have here fanned out is beautiful. There are so many iconic key books in here mixed in conservatively at auction for the collection. This would easily be a $10,000 to $15,000 group of comics.
Not what I expected to hear at all. That's amazing. That's fantastic.
So this is a leather picture of a horse that was made by Al Stolman. And my great-grandfather started working with leather, and he realized there were no good tools. So he created some leather working tools in partnership with Al Stolman, and they kind of went around and toured and taught people how to use the leather tools.
Al Stolman is widely regarded as America's master of leather tooling, a craft rooted in 19th century Western saddle and cowboy gear. While many artisans made functional items, Stolman elevated leather tooling into a recognized art form, treating leather as both medium and canvas. After World War II, he worked in saddleries absorbing frontier techniques. By the 1950s and 1960s, his detailed scenes of horses, wildlife, and Western landscapes showed remarkable anatomical accuracy and depth. His method combined stamping, embossing, and hand carving to create layered relief, treating leather as both sculpture and drawing. This example shows dense tooling forming fur, foliage, wood grain, and stitch patterns. Low to medium relief adds depth while staying functional, with smooth transitions in the horse's musculature. Once marginalized as craft, leatherwork gained artistic legitimacy through Stolman's vision. Today, his work stands as a benchmark of 20th century American studio craft.
And if this were in a retail setting, we could easily see someone putting $30,000 to $50,000 on it.
Wow, that's a lot. Wow.
53. The imperated Fensco was
a lot of battery toys, which is what your plane is powered by. So you've tried it out. Does it run okay?
It runs perfect.
It was your dad's?
It was my dad's when he was a little boy.
Well, he took pretty good care of it.
In the years after World War II, Japan's toy industry underwent a dramatic rebirth. Yonezawa Toys, founded in Tokyo in 1950, quickly became known as an innovative maker of tin-plate mechanical toys. The early 1950s marked a turning point. Encouraged by U.S. occupation policies promoting exports, Japanese toy makers shifted from handmade toys to mechanized tin toys with clockwork and later battery-powered mechanisms. American buyers, eager for inexpensive, playful novelty goods, responded enthusiastically, and Yonezawa led the export boom. This Yonezawa toy shows key traits of early post-war tin toys. Colorful, lithographed surfaces imitating commercial or military aviation and early battery-powered movement. Stamped metal components mimic complex machinery and feature American-oriented imagery. Here, a jetliner. Yonezawa toys symbolized Japan's reindustrialization, technological literacy, and rise as a major post-war exporter. This toy airplane blends industrial design, mid-century, Americana, and Japanese manufacturing history, showing how small toys helped rebuild a national economy.
In here.
3 batteries, right?
So your typical airplane would be probably half the size of this, much less in the way of detailing. Those kind of airplanes from the same time period, probably be $50 to $100. But you've got the super duper model, which does all kinds of things, which we're going to see in a second. So really, this airplane's about a $300 airplane today in real nice shape. All right, well, why don't we see what this does?
Turn on the switch.
Yeah, see what?
My grandpa was kind of a wheeler dealer, and he liked to go out and make a deal and barter and trade, and this was something he came home with, one of many unique items that he came home with.
When you got it, did you like it? What did you think?
Not at all. When we were cleaning out the house that I got it from, I was on the verge of giving it to Goodwill or Salvation Army. And my husband said, let's take it home and take a little bit closer look at it. It was one of those things that was kind of always in my family, kind of always hanging out in the background that I never really liked. I actually thought it was kind of an ugly vase.
Okay, that's fair.
So it is now in my home, and I'm just curious what the value of it is.
Okay.
By the mid-20th century, Italian ceramics had moved beyond utilitarian forms into bold artistic experimentation. Few figures were more influential than Guido Gambone, the charismatic ceramicist who helped define modern Italian studio ceramics. Gambone began his career in the 1930s in Vietri sul Mare on the Amalfi Coast, known for its folk pottery traditions. After World War II, he set up workshops in Florence and Milan, attracting young ceramicists and creating a distinctly Italian alternative to Scandinavian and French modernist styles. By the time this vase was produced, Gambone had reached his mature phase, evident in its geometric design, vigorous brushwork, and glazes. His approach was both primitive and modern, drawing on archaic forms, Etruscan motifs, and Mediterranean craft traditions while embracing post-war avant-garde impulses. Today, Gambone is celebrated as a leading 20th-century ceramic artist. His mid-century works are prized not just as decoration, but as fine art.
I would believe that a retail price would be somewhere between $7,000 and $10,000.
Oh, okay. Oh my gosh, okay.
I brought a Maria pot that has been in my family. My great-grandmother bought it from Maria in 1956, and she met her and she corresponded with her after she bought it.
In the mid-20th century, Pueblo pottery, which had flourished for centuries, entered a period of renewed innovation driven by Maria Martinez and her son Popovida of San Ildefonso Pueblo, New Mexico. Maria was already acclaimed for her polished blackware pottery. By the 1950s, Popovi, artist, cultural advocate, and later governor, pushed experiments in technique, form, and surface treatment. A major result was polished red ware made through careful clay selection, stone polishing, and controlled oxidation firing. Unlike blackware, red ware needed an oxidizing atmosphere to reveal the clay's iron-rich tones. This pot shows a deep brick-red surface with a painted feather band, glossy burnish, and precise polishing lines. Maria and Popovi's 1950s pottery bridges traditional Pueblo techniques with a modern market and influences future San Ildefonso artists.
On today's market, we are looking at between $20,000 and $25,000 for your pot.
Oh, wow.
What you've brought us today is the teacher's edition of Dick and Jane.
After World War II, American education entered a period of sweeping standardization as schools sought to modernize classrooms and unify learning. Districts wanted consistent materials that organized curriculum and reflected new ideas in child psychology, aiming for a more scientific approach to childhood learning. One of the most influential results was the Dick and Jane Basel Reading Series, created by William S. Gray and Zerna Sharp, published by Scott, Forsman and Company. By the 1950s, Dick and Jane books dominated early reading instruction, teaching children with simple vocabulary, repetitive sentences, and cheerful illustrations through the look-say method. Teachers relied heavily on the teacher's edition, which expanded stories into scripted lessons, vocabulary lists, comprehension prompts, and activities, ensuring uniform instruction nationwide. Today, mid-century teachers' editions provide a window into post-war childhood, teaching theory, and the visual culture that shaped generations.
Giant editions from the 1940s to the 60s routinely sell in the $500 to $600 range.
Well, that's good because my mom has another one. So.
This is a hand drawing of Einstein's hands. It was actually signed by Einstein down here. My mom got this at auction, probably 25 to 30 years ago she got it. All that she told us about it, it was just a random person that had sent the picture to him, apparently, to get this signed. We don't know what she paid for it. I can't imagine that she would spend more than a couple $100 on this.
The friendship between Albert Einstein and German-Jewish painter Josef Scharl began in exile. Both fled Nazi Germany, Einstein in 1933, Scharl in 1938, joining many intellectuals and artists targeted by the regime. In America, Scharl found support among émigré circles, while Einstein, invested in displaced scholars and artists, became a patron and advocate for his work. By the early 1950s, Scharl's introspective, expressionist art began gaining recognition. Einstein admired his ability to capture psychological depth, writing letters and inscriptions endorsing his talent, helping him secure exhibitions and collectors. A 1952 sketch signed by Einstein symbolizes the meeting of art, intellect, and diaspora, a gesture of solidarity and recognition of Scharl's struggle in a new country. Einstein's support helped preserve Scharl's legacy after his premature death in 1954, and such works now offer a window into the cultural consequences of World War II and the intersections of science and art.
That's a mystery why he would have signed it after, but it's clearly his signature. Just a signed item by Einstein, say a printed portrait or something like that, maybe it would be a $4,000 to $6,000 piece. But this, with the association, the subject matter, it's like Einstein in contemplation, really, through his hands. I think it makes it special. I would estimate this to sell at auction for $15,000 to $20,000.
I mean, that's amazing.
I inherited it from my father when he passed a couple of years ago. He got it directly from Jerome Kirk in 1960. Jerome, in 1960, had applied to get a fellowship with Alexander Calder, and he and his wife came to the East Coast, and his wife and my mother were friends, and so they stayed at our house while he was applying, talking to Calder and applying for a fellowship. After the interview with Calder, Kirk gave this mobile to my father as a thank you gift for letting him stay at our house.
In the post-war era, American sculpture transformed as artists explored kinetic art, creating works that moved and interacted with their surroundings. Among the movement's pioneers was Jerome Kirk. By 1959, he was creating mobiles, delicate sculptures that shifted with the air and the viewer's perspective. Drawing inspiration from Alexander Calder, he developed a distinctive approach: fine, minimal structures that highlighted linearity and a sense of spatial harmony. Each element was carefully measured to pivot, sway, or rotate subtly, achieving dynamic equilibrium where no part dominates and the silhouette constantly evolves. His mobiles reflect mid-century fascination with space, movement, and abstraction, echoing post-war optimism and interest in science, technology, and modern design. Sleek and engineered in appearance, they embody the clean, modern sensibility of the 1950s. Jerome Kirk's mobiles are celebrated not only as mid-century decorative objects, but also as landmarks in kinetic sculpture, bridging modernist aesthetics with a distinctly American vision.
His work is very highly collected, and they're very desirable. This would have a retail value in the $20,000 range.
That's really good. I have no plans on getting rid of it, though. It's
Right.
been in my family, so.
My grandfather was a donor to Bacone College, which was a Native American college in Muskogee, Oklahoma. And one day he put me in the car and we went to Bacone College and we came home with this. And his friend Dick West carved it. And I don't know like if he commissioned it or if he just saw it, liked it, and bought it.
Walter Richard West, a Kiowa sculptor and educator, helped shape 20th century Native American art in Oklahoma and beyond. Trained and later teaching at the University of Oklahoma, he fused classical techniques with native cultural traditions. By mid-century, his work explored Kiowa mythology, Plains history, and ceremonial life. Coyote Warrior exemplifies this period, blending the coyote's cunning with a warrior's courage, symbolizing narrative and transformation central to Kiowa storytelling. Cast in bronze, the sculpture conveys dynamic motion and expressive detail, merging human and animal forms. West balanced realism with abstraction, combining anatomical precision with stylized gestures to evoke spiritual power. The figure's forward lean, poised arms and balanced stance suggest pursuit, dance, or ritual combat. This piece stands as a mythic narrative and a milestone in mid-century sculpture, demonstrating how native artists like West reimagined their medium while honoring ancestral traditions.
What was it originally purchased for?
I think it was $250. Is that what it was?
That's a deal, I think.
I think it's a steal.
Yeah,
of a
but
deal.
that was way back when. That might have been a lot of money.
It might have been
in 1959.
Yep.
I would say that this, for insurance purposes, the value of this would be between $25,000 and $30,000.
That's a motorcycle. That's a Harley.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's the Omega Seamaster model. And when you look at it, well, okay, that's typical of Omega Seamaster. It is 18-karat solid gold. Omega, as you know, is a Swiss watchmaking company. What you don't know, and when I saw it, it threw me back just a couple of seconds, is on the dial down here, we see Roman numerals. There's X, V, and I.
By the mid-20th century, Omega's role with the Olympic Games had become a prestigious partnership. First serving as official timekeeper in 1932, by the 1950s, Omega aimed to combine technical precision with symbolic celebration. The Seamaster 16th, created for the 1956 Melbourne Olympics, was both a commemorative piece and a technological milestone. Named for the 16th Olympiad, it featured Olympic motifs on its dial and caseback, offered in gold and steel, and housed rugged automatic movements from the Seamaster line. This model marked a transitional moment as the Seamaster evolved from a post-war dress watch to a symbol of reliability and athleticism, with the Olympic partnership accelerating its new identity. The 1956 Games, first in the Southern Hemisphere amid Cold War tensions and record performances, enhanced the watch's significance. Today, collectors prize the Seamaster 16 for its rarity, design, and embodiment of Omega's early Olympic legacy.
It's a pretty rare watch.
I had no idea.
I had no pretty idea. Scarce. In today's market, a retail on this is going to bring about $7,000 to $9,000.
Wow. Wow.
That's much more than we ever thought it would be. That's amazing.
It certainly is.
This was my dad's. When he got out of the Army, he went into a music shop in Alton, Illinois, and purchased this guitar.
Okay, what we have here is a 1954 Gibson Les Paul Standard in a gold top finish.
When Gibson introduced the Les Paul in 1952, it marked a bold move into the solid-body electric guitar market, blending arch-top elegance with single-cut silhouettes and carved maple caps. By 1954, the Les Paul Standard evolved to meet post-war musicians' demands for volume, sustain, and tonal versatility. The standout upgrade was the wraparound tailpiece/bridge, improving tuning stability, sustain, and intonation over the earlier trapeze-style design. Electric blues, country, and early rock players embraced these innovations, with Les Paul himself advising Gibson. Its P90 pickups, known for gritty attack and clear mid-range, became essential for expressive playing. While sales remained modest, the 1954 Standard marked a turning point, capturing Gibson's transformation of a glossy, gold-top concept into a guitar that would shape the sound of 20th-century electric music. Today, it is prized for its tone, rarity, and historical significance.
In the condition that it's in, and it's very clean, there's no breaks, I would put a retail estimate of $45,000 on this one.
Is that right?
Yeah.
We purchased it about 40 years ago at a small gallery near our home in Lake Elsinore, California. Just loved it. I don't even think we paid $1,000 for it, but I know it's by Frank McCarthy.
Before gaining fame for his cinematic Western scenes, Frank McCarthy was already a leading mid-20th century American illustrator. By the 1950s, he belonged to a post-war generation shaping magazines, adventure fiction, advertising, and film imagery, when painted illustration dominated storytelling. Trained at New York's Art Students League and Pratt Institute, McCarthy developed a style defined by dynamic composition, dramatic lighting, and a keen sense of movement. Even before the Western genre, his brushwork captured narrative mid-action, as in his depiction of Chief Joseph surrendering in 1877, emphasizing negotiation, tension, and dignity rather than battle. Using low horizons, diagonal compositions, and detailed foreground figures, he created depth and drama. Today, McCarthy's oils from this period are valued not only as art, but as reflections of mid-century American visual culture, bridging illustration, fine art, and popular storytelling.
I think, and I spoke with my colleagues, we think at auction $12,000 to $18,000.
Really?
Yeah, comfortably.
Guess I should get insurance.
I brought in a ring that I found at an estate sale a couple months ago. It was a dark room, it was a junk jewelry bin, and it had a $5 price tag, and I just thought it was cool, so I picked it up. When I got to better lighting, I saw little markings, so I investigated a little bit further, and it kind of piqued my interest even more from what I saw.
What'd you see?
The 18 carats was what I saw first, and then I saw the Cartier name, and then also another name, which seemed Vietnamese. I looked it up a little bit, and it seems like they were a designer for Cartier for a certain time.
Well, you're absolutely correct.
By the mid-1950s, Cartier had secured its place as a leading jewelry house, celebrated for technical mastery, luxurious materials, and innovative design. The Parisian jewelry scene was shifting, with a new generation favoring minimalist, modernist aesthetics that emphasized form, geometry, and clean lines over ornate decoration. Among them, Din Van began collaborating with Cartier in the early 1950s, promoting jewelry as wearable art, elegant, simple, and sculptural, often in high-carat gold to highlight smooth surfaces, bold shapes, and subtle light effects. A 1950s gold ring exemplifies this ethos. Unlike pre-war Cartier's heavily ornamented pieces, it embraces restraint, precision, and modernist harmony, reflecting post-war trends in design and architecture. Din Van's work bridged avant-garde design and luxury, establishing him as a pioneer. Today, Cartier rings by Van are prized not only for craftsmanship and gold content, but as icons of mid-century modernist jewelry.
And I found other rings like this, but not the exact same thing. And those were selling at retail for $6,000 to $8,000.
Oh, wow.
I would definitely put that ring in with that group.
It's a poster my husband found in the trash, and he brought it home and he put it up on the wall in his office. He was in the Army for 5 years.
Amazing what people find in the garbage.
I'm telling you.
The 1950s saw Army recruiting posters become powerful tools in visual culture, blending patriotism with striking imagery to attract enlistees. After World War II and during the early Cold War, these posters communicated strength, duty, and national unity. Serving both informational and emotional purposes, they appealed directly to young men, presenting military service as honorable and socially respected. This poster's craftsmanship is notable. The man's face is created through collage, layering photographic and graphic elements for depth and realism, while maintaining bold visual impact. Stenciling further enhances the design, allowing consistent reproduction with strong lines, ensuring legibility from a distance. The combination of collage and stencil reflects the inventive, hands-on approach of the era, balancing artistic expression with mass communication needs. Today, this 1951 poster stands as a vivid artifact, illustrating how design, craftsmanship, and national purpose intersected in a pivotal moment of American history.
I think for someone who collects military propaganda, something this unusual, you could expect it to sell in the $600 to $900.
Really? Wow. Cool.
My grandfather had actually two occupations. One is a barber and one is a wood carver. He took time in between shaves and customers to whittle, which is what he called it. He started with little animals and making zoos for his wife. And as he carved them for his wife, he began to make bigger objects. This here represents one of his items called the preaching stick.
Elijah Pierce quietly shapes a distinctive artistic voice, drawing from everyday life, faith, and personal experience. His wood carving is direct and honest, using simple tools to create powerful storytelling through careful cuts and composition. This preaching stick, made around 1950, served Pierce during church sermons as both a support and a visual teaching aid. Carved with animals, tools, and daily life scenes, it also features a prominent cross, reflecting his deep religious conviction. Each figure is intentional, turning the stick into a narrative column that rewards close viewing, revealing new details with every glance. Ultimately, this preaching stick exemplifies American folk art, combining faith, craftsmanship, and storytelling while preserving Elijah Pierce's voice in wood for generations to come.
For this work would be somewhere in the vicinity of $15,000 to $20,000.
Okay.
If it were to be sold at auction, which we know is not going to happen. For insurance purposes, I would say $40,000 or $50,000.
Okay.
When you came to the table this morning, I literally felt my heart almost jump out of my chest. So I would love to know how you ended up with these Mad Magazine pages.
6 years ago, my uncle died, and I inherited them from him. And he always had such cool things, so it was really exciting to get them because I really like Mad Magazine, and so I knew it had to be worth something.
Mad Magazine began as a bold experiment by Harvey Kurtzman and William Gaines, aiming to satirize popular culture with sharp humor and fearless parody. Its irreverent tone and clever storytelling quickly won readers, mocking movies, comics, and society with fresh, daring comedy. This particular issue, Mad Issue 8, is published in the year 1953. It stands as an early example of the magazine's developing voice and growing confidence. The centerpiece, the complete Frankenstein story, parodies classic horror, turning the familiar monster tale into sharp satire. Dr. Frankenstein is both ridiculous and brilliant, exemplifying Mad's blend of humor and cultural commentary. Kurtzman's artwork and pacing highlight his strong editorial control. As an early, complete issue, this edition is historically significant. It lays the foundation for a publication that would reshape comic satire and secure Mad's enduring place in American popular culture.
So, do you have any idea what your uncle paid? Do you have?
I think he paid $31.50 or $32.50.
So like $3,100?
Yeah, back in 1987.
In today's market, conservatively at auction, I would put an estimate of 40 to 60,000 for the entire storyboard. It's
Wow.
literally only one other example of an early Mad storyboard complete.
Well, about 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, we bought the house of the son of the founder of Herman Miller Company, Hugh Dupree. And the neighbor came by and she said that she was selling some Herman Miller bedroom furniture. So we bought a whole bedroom set with end tables and a vanity and a couple of shelves. And this was one of the pieces in the set. The house was designed by George Nelson in 1946.
George Nelson's tenure as design director at Herman Miller defined American modern design. He helped shape a vision that combined function, innovation, and clean aesthetics. Herman Miller became known for modern furniture that improves daily life without unnecessary ornamentation. This 1946 chest reflects that philosophy with its simple, balanced form, emphasizing clarity, proportion, and honest construction. Thoughtful material choices, aluminum handles paired with warm Primavera wood, blend industrial modernity with softness. The wood gives the piece a light, refined character, while the metal adds durability and visual contrast, highlighting a balance between function and style. Though not rare, the chest remains a striking example of mid-century design, serving as a testament to Nelson's influence and Herman Miller's enduring commitment to quality furniture.
How much did you pay for it?
Well, the lady who sold it to us, her uncle worked at Herman Miller and gave her this set, and so she knew what Herman Miller furniture was worth, so she charged us $1,500 for this piece.
Modest retail value would be in the neighborhood of $1,200 to $1,500.
Okay? Great.
That's my father, and he was a baseball umpire, and he still umpires at the age of 90.
90. When did he start?
He started in 1946 when he was, I guess, 31 years old. He did major league games when the big league teams came to Hawaii.
And how many teams came over the years?
Well, the Yankees came, the Dodgers came, Cardinals.
So the big names?
The big names.
And you would occasionally go to the games?
Jackie Robinson and Roy Campanella are two of baseball's most influential figures, celebrated not only for their talent, but also for breaking barriers. Robinson famously shattered Major League Baseball's color line in 1947, showing courage, discipline, and dignity under immense pressure, turning the field into a stage for social change. Campanella, a three-time National League MVP and one of the era's greatest catchers, impressed with his hitting, defense, and leadership. Photographs from 1956 capture both men at the height of their careers, reflecting a shared legacy of excellence, teamwork, and perseverance. Their dual signatures make these pieces rare and historically significant, enhancing both collector value and cultural importance. These signed photographs serve as lasting tributes to Robinson and Campanella, preserving not only their images, but the enduring ideals of courage, excellence, and progress they championed.
I would place a conservative auction estimate of $6,000 to $8,000 on the photo.
Can't believe that.
And if you're going to insure it, I'd insure it for at least $10,000.
So even photographs in which I appear.
It's a Peanuts cartoon that a dear friend of mine had in his collection, and he identified with Charlie Brown quite a bit. And he had the opportunity to meet Charles Schulz in the 60s and asked Mr. Schulz to autograph it for him. His name happened to be Charlie, and so the autograph says to good old Charlie Dixon from good old Charlie Brown, and it's signed Charles Schulz.
When Charles Schulz created Peanuts, he wanted a calm, thoughtful comic that captured everyday life. Its appeal comes from quiet insight, showing readers moments of doubt, hope, and resilience. The strip quickly stood out for its philosophical tone and child characters, who speak with adult clarity. Figures like Charlie Brown, Snoopy, and Lucy are humorous yet vulnerable, making the work resonate beyond typical comic audiences. This daily strip from 1955 represents an early and formative period in Schulz's career. At this stage, the characters are still evolving, and the visual language remains spare, emphasizing Schulz's focus on storytelling over spectacle. Signed originals from this period are rare, fragile, and highly valued by collectors and historians. This signed peanut strip preserves Schultz's quiet brilliance and marks the start of a legacy that continues to speak with honesty and warmth across generations.
Peanuts market being a little bit on the softer side now than it was a couple of years ago, I would still easily estimate this at auction at $10,000 to $15,000.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. And had this been a couple of years back when the market was really steaming hot, you probably could have put it at maybe $15,000 to $25,000.
Oh my.
Still could bring that.
I bought this at an auction from an artist who was well known in the area. I was excited to go to the auction. I actually postponed a hernia surgery to attend the auction. When I went to preview the auction, I suspected it was Eames, and then when I looked in the drawer, I knew it was. And so I sat through the whole auction, and I won the bid. So.
The ESU Storage Unit series, designed by Charles Eames for Herman Miller, embodies modular design, flexibility, and modern living. Created as practical systems rather than decorative furniture, they reflect post-war ideals of efficiency and adaptability. Herman Miller, emerging as a leader in modern American design, supported innovators like Eames and translated complex ideas into functional, high-quality furniture. Known as Model 420N, this unit's name breaks down as 400 for the series, 20 for the drawer and door layout, and N for its neutral color, showing the thoughtful design behind it. Remarkably, the unit is constructed from approximately 341 individual components. Slender metal legs, elegant but limited under lateral stress, highlight Eames' balance of aesthetics and structural constraints. Despite this, the unit remains a mid-century modern icon, exemplifying experimentation, modular thinking, and bold manufacturing that define Herman Miller's enduring influence.
I have ever seen, and I specialize in this type of design.
Wow.
At auction, which is probably the most common place that these would show up today, I think this would sell for about $20,000.
What? Really?
Yes.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, when I was a little girl, I kept asking Santa Claus each year for a Lionel train. It took me 3 times before the old elf came through, and he brought me a pastel girls train. I would put my hamsters in the boxcars, and I would set my parakeet on the hopper car there, and we'd go around and around the track. We had a wonderful time with our train.
Lionel train sets reflect founder Joshua Lionel Cowan's vision of transforming model trains into one of America's most beloved toys. From the start, Lionel trains were crafted not just for play, but as detailed mechanical objects capturing the romance of real railroads. Known for durable construction, realistic detailing, and innovative use of electricity, they became family centerpieces, symbolizing imagination, craftsmanship, and modern technology. By 1955, Lionel's engineering brilliance is evident in sets with scaled components, strong motors, and well-designed accessories for smooth, long-lasting operation. Every detail balances realism with child-friendly durability, from paintwork to moving parts, explaining why many sets remain functional and collectible today. Complete sets from this era are rare, with missing original components increasing their desirability. This Lionel train set stands as a nostalgic artifact of mid-century American culture, embodying care, ingenuity, and lasting quality.
It wasn't that successful, which is why these are fairly rare. A set like this, in the original box, at one point was bringing as much as $10,000. Now it's down to around $2,000 to $3,000.
From Turkey in the mid-60s.
I believe this to be an example of a lamp by a company from Birmingham, England. It's called the Peter Marsh Lighting Company.
The Peter Marsh Lighting Company, emerging in the mid-20th century, gained recognition for experimental lighting that blends modern design with handcrafted techniques. Peter Marsh treated lamps not just as functional objects, but as sculptural elements within interiors. He became known for using unconventional materials, often combining industrial elements with organic forms to create tactile, modern pieces. This lamp, dating from around 1950, exemplifies that innovative approach. It pairs lead sheet metal with blown glass, an uncommon combination, producing depth, texture, and visual drama. The lead is precisely shaped and assembled, while the glass interacts with light to create a warm, dynamic glow. Both materials require skilled handling, reflecting the maker's mastery. Bold in material, sculptural in form, and carefully crafted, this lamp embodies mid-century American lighting design, functioning as both a practical object and a distinctive decorative work.
In a retail shop, I believe they would be asking around $500.
Oh, wow. I'm a Speedway spark plug. I grew up just a couple of miles from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway track. And all through my grade school and high school days, I listened to the cars in the early spring going around. This flag was signed by 31 of the 33 drivers in 1958.
The mid-20th century world of auto racing is defined by speed, risk, and bold personalities embodied by the Indianapolis 500. The 1958 race is remembered as one of the most dramatic and tragic in Speedway history, where elite drivers faced minimal safety and extreme danger. This racing flag bears signatures of multiple drivers from that historic event, including Pat O'Connor, who tragically died during the race, suggesting autographs began before race day. At its center is Jimmy Bryan's signature, the race winner, highlighting his victory and anchoring the flag to this specific event. The combination of signatures, especially from a driver who perished that day, gives the flag immense historical significance. Today, it stands as a rare artifact, preserving the driver's legacy, the triumph and tragedy of the 1958 race, and the daring spirit of motorsport.
Yeah, it's quite the special piece for you to have brought in today, especially being here in Indianapolis. I would put a value on this piece for insurance purposes of $10,000.
It is signed. I'm not familiar with the artist myself, but it is dated 53. I'm sure you know much more than I do.
I'm hoping so. I hope I'll be able to tell you a little bit about it. It's signed down here, and it's K. Nunemaker, and that's Kenneth Nunemaker. Have you done any research on him at all?
He is from Pennsylvania, and he sold most of his work, I believe, there, but other than that, I don't know much about him.
Kenneth Nunemaker is celebrated as a painter whose work blends technical skill with artistic sensitivity. His paintings balance structure and emotion, showing a keen understanding of light, movement, and atmosphere. Rooted in Ohio, he draws inspiration from everyday American scenes, capturing them with energy and freshness rather than strict realism. This 1953 painting reflects his Impressionist background, using expressive brushwork that emphasizes color and texture over fine detail. Nunemaker allows the paint to act on the surface, giving the scene immediacy and a sense of life, making the moment feel observed rather than staged. The reverse bears his stamp, title Bill's Place, and address, confirming authenticity. Overall, the work exemplifies mid-century American Impressionism, highlighting Nunemaker's regional roots, expressive technique, and dedication to conveying the spirit of place, enhancing its artistic and historical significance.
You bought it for $2, which you would expect to buy maybe a postcard or something like that for $2, but you have the original oil painting here.
Yes.
Have you ever wondered what it might be worth?
Kind of wondered what it was worth. My husband thought maybe $200, but really, I'm not sure.
He appears rather less frequently in the market than some of the other Pennsylvania Impressionist artists, so when he does appear, there tends to be quite a lot of demand for his work. And I would expect a piece like this probably to fetch in the 6,000 to 10,000 range at auction.
6,000 to 10,000?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Never would I have thought that.
It's a bit of a jump from $2.
Wow, it definitely is.
And a little higher than your husband's expectation of $200.
Most definitely.
It was my mother's. I wasn't allowed to touch it, but I can remember she'd go dancing. My father took her absolutely every place. all over the West, and I know when they got dressed up, she had that purse on her wrist and she was rocking.
This is a great piece.
Evans was a renowned American company known for stylish luxury accessories, combining glamour with practicality and reflecting post-war elegance. The brand specialized in compacts and carryalls that were both functional and fashionable, letting women carry essentials in beautifully designed forms. This rhinestone carryall exemplifies Evans' craftsmanship, featuring crystal rhinestones of varying sizes arranged to create depth, sparkle, and visual rhythm. The decorative pattern follows a classic sunburst motif popular in the 1950s, symbolizing energy, sophistication, and modern style. Inside, the carryall is thoughtfully organized with a small comb, a coin compartment, and space for powder, highlighting Evans' focus on practical design. This rhinestone sunburst carryall stands as a charming example of mid-century design, capturing the glamour of its era while showcasing the ingenuity and refined craftsmanship for which Evans was celebrated.
Now, the value, $500. Wonderful.
My aunt had purchased the painting from the artist, Duncan Gleason, in the early 50s. She felt that it reminded her of myself and my brother down on the beach, at a beach house she had in Southern California. And she passed away. It went to my parents, and upon their passing, I had come to have the painting. I've had it for over 20 years now.
Duncan Gleason was an American artist whose career blended formal training, illustration, and a deep connection to the California coast. Working during a period when artists moved between commercial illustration and fine art, he developed a versatile and distinctive visual style. Gleason is best known for coastal scenes and refined still lifes, often inspired by marine life and nature, emphasizing form, texture, and light over narrative drama. In Sea Urchins, his fusion of illustration and painting is evident. Careful draftsmanship combines with painterly depth, creating a work both precise and expressive. Created in Laguna Beach, the piece reflects its coastal setting, with the title directly referencing the surrounding marine life. An artist's label on the back confirms authenticity and situates the work within his oeuvre. Sea Urchins exemplifies Gleason's ability to merge skill with natural inspiration, capturing the quiet beauty of coastal life.
Charming painting, and I would say for auction, a piece like this could carry a conservative estimate of $20,000 to $30,000.
Oh my.
And it would not surprise me at all if it made in excess of that.
Really?
Now, if you were to insure it, I think you should be looking for something north of $40,000.
For insurance purposes,
Yeah.
so, wow.
I come from a family of collectors, and these were purchased by my parents in Paris back in probably the late 50s, early 60s. They had a favorite art gallery on the Rue de Fauberge by the name of Iris Clare, and she was quite an exotic woman who carried very avant-garde art.
Gaston Chaissac was a self-taught French artist who created instinctive, raw, and deeply personal works outside academic tradition. Admired for originality and defiance of convention, he developed a visual language aligned with art brut, prioritizing spontaneity and imagination over polish. Influenced by Picasso, he simplified forms and distorted figures to create something uniquely his own. His works feature anthropomorphic shapes, prehistoric symbols, and childlike imagery, giving them a primal, expressive quality. Using collage, ink, and oil, he revealed varied facets of his creative energy. Together, these pieces attest to Chaissac's brilliance, independence, and belief that art should be direct, imaginative, and deeply human.
It was in the 60s when he began doing collage. His value keeps going up. I would value the collage at between $20,000 and $40,000. The oil on canvas between $30,000 and $50,000. And the drawing at between $5,000 and $10,000.
You are surprising me.
They're wonderful pieces.
Very surprised.
And what I like about seeing them in Arizona is it's Arizona petroglyphs meet
Yes.
high-style French outsider art.
Very good connection.
I worked for Hallmark Cards in Kansas City, Missouri before moving to California 33 years ago. I was a Peanuts fan for a long time and came up with the idea to use Peanuts on greeting cards, and I had to sell the idea to the creative committee. As a result, they ended up with a whole big line of Hallmark Peanuts products.
Charles Schultz was born in Minneapolis and grew up in St. Paul, where he developed an early love for drawing. Drafted in 1943, he served in the U.S. Army during World War II without losing his creative drive. After returning to Minnesota, Schultz launched his comic career with Lil Folks in 1947. In 1950, he reworked Lil Folks into a 4-panel strip. United Features Syndicate renamed it Peanuts and began publication that October. Over time, Schultz's line grew confident and refined. Simple oval eyes conveyed humor, doubt, and vulnerability. Clean backgrounds, careful spacing, and silent pauses created a rhythm unique to comics. As Peanuts spread nationwide, it became a shared language. These spare black and white drawings remain timeless proof of the power of sincerity and simplicity.
Just from a historic point of view, you got to estimate these at $4,000 to $6,000 each. Now, Sunday pages are really desirable, and these are terrific. You have Linus and Lucy, you have Linus, Lucy, and Snoopy. Great years. I think these are 59. And on a conservative side, I'm going to estimate these anywhere from $12,000 to $18,000 each. I think if you add it all up, I wouldn't be surprised to see you come out anywhere from $150,000 to $200,000 on a piece-by-piece basis. Absolutely not. And if you're going to insure it, you'd probably want to insure it for a little bit more than the high estimate.
I was going to say, I had these on a shelf in my closet, and I think...
not a good place for them anymore.
Not a good place for them anymore.
Absolutely not.
Wow.
My father-in-law played in a cowboy band back in the 50s and 60s, and he bought this guitar in 1954 for $300 and played it for several years, and then it kind of got put in the basement for about 50 years, and he passed away a couple years ago and gave it to my husband. He so enjoyed it his whole life, and my husband plays the guitar, and he wanted my husband to have it, so.
In a modest Fullerton, California workshop in 1950, Leo Fender introduced the Esquire. Simple, with a single pickup, it quietly launched a new era of electric guitar sound. Unlike the ornate, cumbersome guitars of its time, the Esquire was slim, light, and built purely for function, as this example shows. As Fender's first mass-produced solid-body guitar, the Esquire earned a reputation for raw, gritty tone. Its stripped-down design seemed almost too simple, but that simplicity became its strength. Players discovered surprising versatility, from sharp country twang to bluesy grit. As the Esquire evolved into the Telecaster, it left a lasting mark on music history. The original remains a symbol of innovation, born of necessity, defined by clarity, and built to make every note count.
And it has something else, another determinant of value, and that is freshness to the market. I would advise an insurance valuation on this guitar of $35,000.
Oh my gosh. Okay. My husband will be very happy.
When Wayne told